What's up, people? I'm just dropping in real quick. I'm gonna continue on that same path. Yesterday, I was talking about female body count. We talked about how um, you know a past matters, but in conjunction with some other things, some other ideas that I believe have to be considered as well. Listen, if you haven't subscribed to the channel, please do so. Subscribe, like, share the content. Again, we're going to keep bringing some provocative, thought-provoking topics. Um, some of the things we talk about may not be popular, but at the end of the day, though, I think there are some discussions that need to be had. This, of course, being one. So, again, a woman's body count does matter. But at the same time, though, in conjunction with some other things that I believe have to be considered. Now, let's talk about the other side of that. The other side of that is the male ego. The male ego many times gets tripped or stumped on a woman that has had a lot of bodies on her name. If she used to run a part-time mortuary back in the day, most guys look at her as fun, but nothing serious. And primarily because of the ego. The male ego wants to be included in the number, but at the same time, though, he has a stigma about being the one that settles down with that woman. Men are in a quirky kind of way. I think I heard TK said it like this: when a man enters a room with his woman, he only wants her to have known one person in that room. And here's why. Men like to feel like they got a catch. They got the one that nobody else could get. And they are securing the one that everybody wants. So when they have to get with a woman, or when they feel like they're getting with a woman that multiple men have had the opportunity to settle down with and didn't, he then starts questioning himself with, okay, why am I the one that's settling down with her? He then starts questioning what he really sees in that woman that the other men before him didn't see. He starts thinking, well, man, they got the milk without the cow. Why am I trying to buy the cow? What is the difference between me and them? And he also looks at the fact that, or the idea or the thought that most men don't like being the punchline of jokes amongst men. We don't like to feel like we're the simp or the sucker amongst men, or in the presence or the idea or the narrative around men. We don't like that idea. So when a man has to get with a woman, or he's trying to get with a woman, or he's thinking about getting with a woman that has a lot of bodies in her past, he's now beginning to think about the number of men that he could potentially look weak or soft or sucker to. And because most men don't like the idea of being either of those traits or narratives about himself, he's a little bit more hesitant, a gun shy to settle with that woman that may potentially put all those things at risk, puts his reputation at risk, puts his ego in a potential to be bruised. Because most men, when they get with a woman, most men usually don't play about that woman that they're with. And so if he gets with a woman that potentially has a promiscuous and a lot of bodies in her past, he knows there's a higher chance that when he goes out, he's going to be high alert on who's looking, if there's somebody trying to sneak a look, who's the guys that she's dealt with, are they trying to hook back up with her? Is he being snickered and giggled at for being the one that settled with her? All these different things get to playing through his mind. So now he's on high alert, he's on edge. And most guys don't like to sign up for that on the front end. If it's a woman that he feels like everybody wanted but nobody got, okay, sign me up, boss. Most guys will sign up for that equation. But very few guys will sign up for the equation that I'm probably going to be in a whole lot of contention because I ain't going to play about this woman. But at the same time, a lot of men have played with this woman. So that makes them a little bit skeptical, but because then the ego factor comes in. But I'll also say this, though. There are a lot of super dope women out there. that that do have a considerable amount of bodies on their name. And so because of that, they've learned some things. Their discernment is high. They've been played with so many different times by so many different men that, okay, now they're a little bit more in tune with when a man's playing games and when he's not. At the same time, though, some women, though, they've gone through that so much that now they got game. Now they know the game, and now they know how to run the game on men as well. So you also gotta pay attention to that too. But I believe there are some really dope women out there that that have an unfortunate past, that they've cleaned up some things. They've really turned their life around, and it's been a considerable amount of time. I believe that a woman that's got her shit together, and hey, she's been standing on business for 10 years or more. She's changed her behavior. She don't go to the spots where she used to go be the toy for the room. She's really changed her location. She changed her demeanor. She changes how she conducts herself. I believe that there are guys that could benefit with women like that, but because of the ego and because of the fear of the narrative being put on their name, then they do themselves a disservice by choosing women that can't get them anywhere. Yeah, their body count might be low, but so is their trajectory. So I believe that's also a part of. You also gotta consider that too. Okay, is this woman good for me? Yeah, I know she had a past that was this way, but has she really changed? And if she's really changed, okay, can she be a good fit? Can she potentially bring out some things that have been tucked away that I didn't even know was in me? But because she's been around so many guys that, that's one of those, I guess you could call it a good trait that she's picked up because she's been around so many guys that, okay, can she potentially be a voice that unlocks some things that, for whatever reason I haven't had, but because of her experience that you may not like to channel what she got the experience, but nevertheless, you can't deny the experience that she has, that maybe that the experience that she has is what you need to get you to the next level or the next place in life. So, again, I believe those are some things that you also got to consider when you start looking at, don't just look at the body count piece all by itself. Look at it. Has there been some change? What is her demeanor like? What is her rapport about now? Because here's the thing about reputation. If she's changed now and her reputation still has to be referenced from a point 10, 20 years back, then that right there means that there's been some type of change on her. And just me personally, I don't believe that a woman should have to go to her grave having done a lot of life work and a lot of change just because her past she had a lot of indiscretions with it. Because again, if she was young, dumb, and naive, let's be real. That's kind of to be expected. She's kind of trying to figure it out. Now there are some women that have not, but again, some of them were trying to figure it out and had everything. They had a perception, a warped perception on what life is or what it is, and so she might have made herself available. But at this point now, okay, some things have turned around in her life. Okay. Then I believe that should also be a consideration. Now, I'm not saying I'm for or against it, but what I'm saying, though, is, again, there are a lot of dope women out there that I believe that still got a lot of good in them. They didn't leave it all on the tracks. And so I believe that, when you start looking at a woman's body count, I believe you got to look at the whole picture, consider the whole picture. Now, again, if there haven't been many changes, then she is what she is. Keep it pushing. But at the same time, if she's done an extensive amount of life work, a lot of self-reflection, she understands the value of herself. She's tied up those loose ends, and now what she brings to the table super far and above exceeds what she used to be in the past. Then I believe that a woman like that definitely deserves some conversation. So again, take these pieces in consideration when you're thinking about it. Again, not saying I'm either for or against it, but I'm just saying that these are some things that confirm why body count matters, and in perspective to other things that should be considered when you're talking about potentially entertaining and dating a woman in that type of scenario. But again, this is your boy Cole. Out.